Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Kickstarter Edition. Today we're going to be taking a look at any new decks to Kickstarter in the past week. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And ring the bell, please.
So let's take a look at what funded in the past week. Congratulations to the Dust Bunny Mafia playing cards. Congratulations to Double Bluff Darts playing cards. Congratulations to Era of Legends, a set of 54 illustrated game cards. Congratulations to Compass playing cards. Congratulations to Year of the Horse, Lunar, and Zodiac playing cards, 8 of 12. Congratulations to Bicycle playing cards, Las Vegas edition. And ending in the next 7 days, we have the Dark Tides relaunch playing cards. We have the Skills of Bike Make 100 poker playing cards. We have the Mysteries and Secrets 8-suit deck marked for Magic. We have the Make 100 3D Neon Color playing cards Travel Edition. And we have the Shooters Cardco USPCC Premium playing cards.
Crushing it.
Absolutely. And the Be a Hero Action Adventure playing cards. But before we jump into what's new this week, let's take a quick word from our sponsor.
Join us as we celebrate the marvelous and fascinating things that surround us, all in the palm of your hands. You will be mesmerized. Follow us on Instagram at Marvelous Decks and at marvelousdecks.com.
Alright, so what do we have first on the list this week? The Dom playing cards, Milan-themed deck with a powerful secret. Let's check it out.
It's a secret.
Yeah, interesting back design. First time creator. A little bit of a low goal depending on where they're trying to create the deck through or how many they're printing, but let's see what they got here. Dom playing cards. This deck was inspired by the city of Milan. On the back of each card you see Milan's cathedral, the biggest one in Italy and one of the most beautiful in Europe. Cool. Dives into the story, tells you immediately why you're seeing a building on the back. Interesting take on an Ace of Spades there.
Yeah.
You don't really have a customized styled spade, you just have a complete replacement. So very cool.
That makes me think of like something Swiss, you know?
Yeah. Let's see here. Printed by USPCC, premium stock, air cushion finish, limited to 1,000 decks. Unique magic trick with it, and a story of the deck on an extra card. Very cool. Got some customized courts here. The Jack of Diamonds looks like it has a face replace. The Queens have some new stuff in their hands, like gelato and pizza. I do like that they're bringing that theme into it. Changes in the orientation of the pips, which is interesting as well, making them one way, but interesting kind of take on that. And then you got fun little Milanese jokers there. And Agino, one of Milan's symbols, very cool. I dig the tuck, very simple. Looking at price point on this deck. 18 shipped, not bad. The one thing I will say is printing 1,000 decks with the goal where it's at, the goal's actually pretty low. So the one thing to be concerned about there is that shipping is going to take a hit on this, on the creator's pocket. 3,600 for the goal. 3,600 for the goal basically covers the deck printing. So with that in mind, I would say the goal needs to be closer to probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6, depending on, you know, 6 to be safe. 5
especially
with an expectation.
6 out of taking 10%, you know.
Yeah. So really, the goal is a little bit low for this. As a new creator, it's understandable, but you definitely want to consider shipping into this. The secret a few years ago, I was playing around with the trick that used one-way faces. The problem was I could only have done with 22 out of 52 cards in the deck, so I decided to modify the numbers and letters. Very cool that there's a reason behind the modifications. I'd almost actually bring that a little bit further up in the campaign so that there's a little more visibility on it. The other thing I would say too is with the number cards, I'd say showing a little more of the number cards, because you are saying that they're all modified, would be interesting to see. Not that I think someone would dislike it because the 10 of clubs looks a certain way or something, but it would be fun to see a little bit more than just the one card.
Yeah. I'm sure the uncut sheet would be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Distribution by Gamblers, awesome, good choice on fulfillment there. Like I said, I think with the price point, that's really a very good price point, including the magic trick, so I think that's worthwhile, but that goal is definitely low. So if you do hit that funding goal at 3,600, you're going to have a tough time not having to pay out of pocket for shipping. So you're better off putting a higher starting goal and come out of it even breaking even there, instead of immediately looking at potentially having to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on shipping. So something to consider, but good luck with the campaign. Next up, we have the Odyssey Exodus playing cards from Sergio Roca.
Nice.
Reasonable goal there. 8,400. Looks like there's some foil on the tuck, so there's obviously some added expense there for the tuck and everything. Let's dive into it and see what we got going on. Also,
Odyssey definitely has done plenty of campaigns before, and
yeah, 6
they know what they're doing.
I was gonna say too, I like this new little thing that Kickstarter has here. Next, creators with backers to fund projects. Rewards aren't guaranteed, but creators must regularly update backers. You're only charged if the project meets its funding goal by the campaign deadline. Good on Kickstarter for putting that up there, because I feel like that's a lot of the questions first-time backers have. So good to see. Inspired by ancient cultures coming from outer space, Exodus is here, the most luxurious, redoubtable, and impressive Odyssey edition. So I like the simplicity of the tuck, still very minimal, but has some beautiful foil look on it. Looks like a really nice kind of a bronze / kind of gold foil there, which will be interesting. Talks about the tuck here. Matte black, high quality tuck, metallic ink in the back design and faces. Copper and gold foil, cool. New paper stock, vintage paper stock, new finish, legendary finish. Right,
sounds like Hansen Chen.
Yeah, Hansen Chen, yeah. Let's see what we got. Distributed by Field the Universe Card Co. Okay. So I'm guessing it's probably their own company, but that works.
I think it is.
Okay. The one thing I would say, it would be nice to see who the actual printer was there, but legendary finish is usually Hansen Chen. Prime 100. So that's gilded, it looks like, with like a copper gilding or a copper / gold gilding. Looks really interesting. Limited to 100. Gilded edges and copper foil. Totally premium seal printed with copper foil. Exclusive for Kickstarter. Only one per backer. Very cool. Get the next reward and you will receive 12 Exodus and 1 primary. So if you get a brick, you get one of those, it looks like. And then at least if there's a specific tier for it. All right. Option 2 will add the rest. So after the tier fills, they'll have them available at first come, first serve as add-ons.
After the early bird.
After the early bird, yeah. Very cool. Good look at the back design. It's interesting though too, and I have to say, we got pretty far down through the campaign before you have a clear shot of the back design. And I still haven't seen any card faces. So here we go. We're getting into the faces. You're about halfway through. It's not bad. It would have been cool to see them a little bit dispersed throughout, just to kind of give hints. I think building that anticipation up helps a lot. Very much styled in the way we've seen the Odyssey decks before. Very cool looking. This guy almost reminds me of like
Black Panther.
I was gonna say like the suit reminds me of Black Panther, but the head and the crown reminds me of Game of Thrones. The Night King.
Yeah, I couldn't add anything on that. I've never seen Game of Thrones.
But I dig the full-size central pips on the aces here. I like the colorway of it. Cool brick box.
How much are we looking at?
We are looking at early birds are 21.
I see.
Standard 24. So yeah, even with the use of foil on the tuck and the metallic inks on the front and back, 24 is a little high shipped. I would be curious to see who or where Field the Universe Card Co. Okay, there we go. Fulfilled from Spain. Okay. See, this is interesting though too. U.S. and Canada fulfillment will be managed by Gamblers. So 7 euros.
And it says European by Hansen Chen.
Yeah, and then Spain will be from Field the Universe. The interesting thing is though, 7 euros for Gamblers is high. That's a high shipping cost when in reality it should come out to about 5 USD. You're looking at more like 8 and change there. You could actually bring this down to a $21 deck if you used...
Which is a good price.
Yeah, which is a good price. So you could almost knock, $2-3 off of that and make it a more reasonable price on the one deck. because you're already using gamblers, their price point they're telling you is $5. So interesting take there. I dig the deck, and I'm sure they're gonna do really well. I mean, Odyssey is always a popular deck, so yeah, they've already surpassed their funding goal there. So nicely done. Good luck. Next, we have the Gods of Egypt playing cards by Damas Aditya. So
he's the designer for the
King Arthur or the Atlantis? It was
Atlantis.
Atlantis, yeah, the Atlantis deck. So this is definitely, I mean, we can just see it from the style of this campaign.
It's basically Riffle Shuffle and campaign.
Oh, he designed Eternal Reign. There we go.
Eternal Reign, right.
Yeah, so this is a Riffle Shuffle campaign. While it's not necessarily a Riffle Shuffle branded campaign, my guess would be that there's some Riffle Shuffle involvement on it. That's actually an encouraging sign, because being a first-time creator, you want to know, yeah, you can see just based on the goal here and the amount of backers. This probably, I think I saw the email come from Riffle Shuffle the other day saying to check this out.
It was another way for them to open up another account, basically.
Yeah. Presented in 2
fine.
editions. Yeah, limited to 2,200 each foil. Premium matte. Soft touch premium paper on the Blue Nile.
It's basically literally the same exact campaign as all their other ones.
Yeah, I mean, again, being a Riffle Shuffle campaign, they build these out. They're templatized, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
I dig the back design on this. I enjoyed Eternal Reign, so I'm excited to see the artwork on this. It looks good. The blue and the red are very traditional colorways, and I actually like the blue very much. Dope number cards. Pips are a little busy for me personally, but again, that's a personal preference there. If you dig it, like, it's awesome. I like the fact that they incorporated thematic elements into the pips. It's just,
I think it would have been cooler to see one element rather than every single pip have that element.
Yeah, because it's a lot.
Just to see one pip have it.
The court cards are dope.
Yeah, they are cool.
Yeah. And then I'm sure in true Riffle Shuffle style, they'll probably be
gilded. Yep.
There we go. Kickstarter edition, exclusive gilded editions.
Yep.
What are we looking at price point? 20 shipped. Can't go wrong. And that is the standard pricing. It looks like the early bird sets coming at 29, so you're looking at $14.50 a deck.
You can't beat their prices. Their prices are always on point for sure.
The one thing I am not there we go. Delivered to your doorstep by gamblers, so fulfillment by gamblers. The one thing though there we go, Taiwan Playing Card Company. And this is the one piece of feedback I always have for Riffle Shuffle campaigns.
Put that stuff up at the top.
Put it up top. You have the kind of breakdown already where you're talking about 2,200 decks printed and all that information. Printed by TWPCC, fulfilled by gamblers, fits perfectly in there. Get it in there and it would just make things a lot easier, because otherwise, if you're scrolling too fast through here, I easily could have blown over both of these and not even realized. Good luck though, Damas Aditya, man. Good job with your work on Eternal Reign. So excited to see how well this one does also. And yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Next up, we have the Gangxi and Vampire playing cards, the Torpor edition.
Yeah, before we dive into this, I don't even think they've
fulfilled the past two.
Fulfilled the past two.
Yeah. So this is, let's see what we have here. We can take a look at their previous campaigns. So we have the Eastern Vampires, and let's go see where we're at here. Yeah, 15 days ago.
And the survey just went out. Yeah, check out the update section.
Let's see. Shipping from USPCC. This, mind you, is 2 campaigns ago.
Yeah, they...
Yeah, so here's the thing. All told, Hypelab in my book does really nice work, but they don't have the credibility built behind them yet. They literally have 2 decks historically over the past couple years. Parallel Universe was not a huge one. These are significant size campaigns with the Gangxi Vampire ones, 514, 438, and they're probably seeing that reduction there because people haven't gotten the cards yet.
Yeah.
As a newer creator, you want to be fulfilling before you're putting a second deck out, because if people can't judge the quality, they're going to be more hesitant to back a second campaign.
Or if they haven't even gotten their deck from the first campaign, it has nothing to do with quality. It has to do with getting their stuff they, backed.
Exactly. And we see in the comments there as well, there was a concern, someone saying, hey, we haven't gotten an update in a while. This actually touches on a very good point. As a creator, and you can see it here, creators must regularly update backers. Must means you have to, not a suggestion. You need to be keeping in regular contact with your backers until fulfillment is 100% completed. With that in mind, for people to be saying, hey, we haven't heard in a while, that means you're already dropping the ball on 2 campaigns ago. You have literally 3 outstanding campaigns at this point with 1 active. That's very difficult for me to say I'm behind this campaign. And I think with 11 days to go on this, it's only 3 days in, but you look how significantly
only 96
smaller
backers compared to 450 and 5 something.
Yeah, like you're seeing a significant drop off in your campaign backing because you haven't fulfilled. You're playing on people's trust, and people are very leery to trust when you have 2 other outstanding campaigns. I also don't see why this or even the previous campaign couldn't have waited until fulfillment was completed. So that's, I think, a big thing here. Then we can dive into the decks themselves. Cold foil printing on both the front and back of the deck, so you can tell from the jump these are going to be pricey decks. If you dig the artwork, I think they look very cool. I actually do dig the style of it, though again, to me, it's very reminiscent of what we saw originally with like the Musha and Goketsu decks.
What's the where's it being printed? Did it say up top? Right here?
No, it does not. Just says that it's printed on black core German casino stock when embossed finish by our partner printing facility in China. It also printed our talisman deck.
Interesting. Yeah, so, it's just the gilding doesn't, it looks like pretty...
So here's the other thing about this, and we'll be honest here. The first deck was printed by USPCC. This 2 subsequent decks are being printed by other companies, so there's already a lack of consistency across campaigns, and to me that just seems like a rush job. It would be nice to know who is printing their decks, because you also printed our talisman deck. Your talisman deck hasn't fulfilled. No one knows how that stock feels. So for people who are collecting this for a feel point of view, who want to use it, that's difficult to kind of be a selling point. Ultimately, though, again, this is clearly a collector's geared deck, so maybe not a lot of people are using it. But yeah, the gilding in these renders, these are also renders, so it doesn't look spectacular, but...
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling it's not going to be a reputable gilder.
The interesting thing is, too, and again, there's not a ton of information here. There's literally 2 paragraphs and then just a ton of pictures. This campaign, to me, feels haphazardly thrown together.
What's the price on it?
The decks are $39 each. Yeah. Wow. So even with the gilding and the foil, that's a pretty high price point. I would have said 35 would have been my max, and that's coming from somewhere I would have known, like Cardamundi with a gilder.
And they're saying that the value is 40. Retail.
Yeah. So you're basically
which is not bad for a gilded deck, but it's got to be, you know, printed by a reputable company and gilded by a reputable company.
Yeah, and without knowing who's printing these, it makes it very difficult. Also, there's no information around fulfillment. Seeing all these rushed together, I think in my book that immediately comes to mind that they're trying to cover costs with other campaigns with this one, which makes me leery to back a subsequent campaign. Again, I do like the artwork on this, but I think that being a newer company, switching printers in a series on your first deck to subsequent decks, there's a lot of questions and red flags that get raised for this. So for anyone backing this campaign, I would just be aware of those things. You know, I think the price point's a little high for what it is. But
be very careful. Just be wary at what you're getting into, and you know, just know that they haven't fulfilled their 2 previous campaigns.
And we've seen this historically with Hype E. They did that even with their parallel universe, where they were on their second campaign, but without even being near fulfilling their first. And they did fulfill their first, but you know, past performance doesn't indicate future performance. So take in mind that it could be problematic when you do go to back this. So
and just look at the backer amount.
Yeah. So good luck. Next up, we have the Tales playing cards from Third Way Industries. Arcane Tales and Heroic Tales. Poker playing cards inspired by fairy tales, fables, and fantasy books. Perfect for telling and creating stories. I gotta say, pretty reasonable goal on this for 2 decks that look like they're using full metallic ink across them. And all customized, you know, at least metallic printed or potentially foil on the tuck. The 20,000 for 2 decks isn't bad. A little bit on the higher end, but it's reasonable.
It's on the
But
high end. For
yeah,
sure.
but it's reasonable within that range.
Who's printing these?
We don't know yet. We just started looking.
I didn't know if it said it right there.
Steve's antsy.
I'm antsy.
But yeah, so obviously this is by no means Gio's first campaign. Gio does phenomenal work and has a very significant following. You can see that from the fact that there's 522 backers on this, and he's raised already more than double his goal with 9 days to go, which I think is great. The people who love his work really do dive into it, and I actually dig the kind of stylistic changes that he fit into this, where it's still very reminiscent of his normal design style, but he's really kind of stepped it up a little bit more, going out on a limb and kind of stretching his design capacity, which I like. Let's see what we got here. Many purposes decks offer you a vast array of characters which to tell and create fairy tales for both kids and adults. I don't know about the latest news section up top. Kind of breaks up, this only because it's weird to see coins and uncuts already when I haven't even gotten into the story of the deck.
That should be in the add-ons.
Yeah, it should be farther down. I guess he's trying to just get some more visibility on it, but I think it would be better to have this not be image-based. Maybe have a little block of text or even put it in the updates, because I think that's going to have more impact. Tails decks. I dig the 3 decks. I really do like the style of it, and I like that there's a third, so that kind of explains a little bit more the higher price point there. So 20 for 3 decks is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think he usually does 3 decks.
Yeah.
When he does a campaign.
So let's see what we got here. Metallic inks, Spade Royal Houses, Brave Heroes for Hearts. So I like there's a theme for each of the suits, which is really cool. I'm not seeing printer or fulfillment yet, though.
There we go.
Leather-like paper. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
I mean, probably like a leather texture. That sounds pretty cool, though.
Metallic or leather, like for the tuck box.
Yeah, for the top, not for the. Yeah, that would be weird for the cards.
That's what I'm like. I don't understand what that means. But yeah, okay, for a tuck box.
All right, features, tails, jokers, alternative court cards. 2 alternative court cards in every deck. All right. What's interesting to me about this is there's obviously a very strong hey, use these cards to tell stories, but I don't really know about how feasible that use case is. I like the theme behind it. I like the idea that it's fairy tales. I like the idea that it's heroes and villains and blah blah whatever. But ultimately, I can't imagine someone pulling out a deck of cards to tell the story of Little Red Riding Hood to their kid. That's kind of an interesting kind of take on it. I think I'd be curious to see whether there was an increase in backing because of that, but I like that he touches on the playability as well. And as always, he offers the Monster Box, which is a great way for anyone looking to get into a third-way industry to pick up a lot of his previous decks.
There's some stretch. He doesn't say who's printing them, though. Huh?
I haven't seen it yet. Decks, Tails, Lore. Here we go. Printed by USPCC and the unlimited editions, Heroic and Arcane of Tales will be printed by USPCC. Due to the experimental nature of Legendary, I'm evaluating USPCC, Cardamone, and EPCC as a possibility. All right, cool.
What's different about the deck?
Subtle gold ink background on every face court and number card.
Is it the tuck box, maybe?
Could be. Though ultimately, with the tux box, the cards could be printed somewhere else. Yeah. So I'm guessing maybe the gold ink background, he's looking for something very specific that he just maybe hasn't found. Obviously, gold ink, if you're going to try and find something, metallic versus something else that maybe has a higher shine, more like foil. Yeah, could depend. So it would be interesting to see what specifically makes that an open-ended question there. But I would also say bringing that further up to the top would be very valuable. I know most of his decks in recent times have been printed by USPCC, so that was a safe assumption. But it would be nice to see. The other thing is fulfillment. So I don't see any information related to fulfillment here until you get into the risks and challenges. He's using Gamblers as his fulfillment center, but I think bringing that into your own section around the printing and up top using their logo brings a lot more visibility to it, because of risks and challenges, you're saying, hey, there's a potential risk in shipping and Gamblers is the solution. That's all well and good, but give them that visibility as a definitive statement of, I am using fulfillment through Gamblers, irrespective of the risks and challenges. I think it makes sense. Having that information in multiple places never hurts. Let's see where we're at price point wise. 17 shipped.
That's a good price.
Yeah, 17 shipped for the standards, and then the legendary is 36 shipped.
And what? So include one legendary retail. I mean, so like we always say during his campaigns, the best place to get his decks are definitely during his Kickstarter campaign, because once they hit the normal retail market, they are priced very high. But that is including shipping, which is good.
Which is interesting though to me though. Again, that $35 seems interesting, but I still can't see anything about the legendary deck other than being limited to 1777. That makes it hit that price point. It doesn't look to be gilded, or at least it's not mentioned as gilded. There's no foil on the front or the back based on the text here, and maybe it's just miscommunication. I'm not sure if this is gilded, if it's foil front and back, or if it's just metallic ink. Ultimately, based on what is involved and what we can see based on the deck here, to me, this is a $21, $22 deck. Yeah. So I'm curious as to...
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, that he's known for, is having that one deck that is priced a bit high based on what you're getting. And just, I think he's basically saying, based on the experimental nature of the tuck box, which still wouldn't put it at...
Yeah, I mean, that's $4 instead of $3.
Yeah, there is definitely, standards are definitely in the price point of what most decks would come in at, and he always has that one that is a little exceeds the normal price range.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what else this deck entails to bring it up to that $35 price point, but again, I know there's a solid following who are going to want the full set there, so good luck, Gio.
Good luck.
I dig the deck, man. Let's see what we got next. Next we have Clockwork, Montana, Mustache, Manufacturing Co. playing cards.
Dude, that mustache, crushing it.
This is a flipbook animated deck of poker playing cards sized from... Interesting. Okay. I'm curious about this. At reasonable goal, depending on where they're printing, though, again, maybe a little bit low. 73 backers. Yeah, it could be a little bit low depending on who's printing. But I like the fact that it's a flipbook animation style deck. That's always fun to see.
Printed by MPC right there in the first paragraph.
All right.
In the image introduction.
Yeah. All right. Printed by MPC, so likely fulfilled by MPC as well, but it would be good to see that in there. Domestic manufacturing fulfillment, MPC or NPCC, so hopefully that's mentioned as a stretch goal below, will be used to create this deck with a turnaround of about 3 weeks. Shipping will be handled directly by Figure 23 via USPCC. So a little bit of a miscommunication there then. Fulfillment will not be handled by MPC or NPCCC because you're saying you're going to be doing it yourself. Fulfillment is the shipping aspect of it. Obviously assembly and things like that may also fall into fulfillment probably will still be with MPC, but the shipping side of it, which people are concerned about, will be directly through yourselves. Hence the increase in shipping costs. With that in mind, if you know there's going to be an increase in shipping cost, using a $5 shipping, it's not that expensive. Okay.
Oh.
So
good price.
Yeah, no, that's a good price for shipping. I mean, ultimately this deck, $17 shipped seems decent from what we've seen. There just needs to be a lot more information.
I mean, there's no pictures of the deck. I want to see how it looks with the flip book. And
mute this for myself too, because the music is like old-timey barbershop and I'm not feeling it. But let's see what we got here. It looks like even...
Yeah, it's literally the same thing.
Yeah, the back design, cool. We've seen the back design. Okay, we get a peek of the Joker's dope. But yeah, I think you're showing a very customized deck, and it being able to see all of it's very important. This is also from the creator of the Quackington Duck deck, which I get a kick out of every time I see it. But I definitely think there's a room for a lot of improvement within the campaign itself. Yep. Give more information, show more pictures. Don't rely on the video only to convey your information, because a lot of people aren't going to click on it.
And look at the amount of tiers they have. They only have a few tiers.
Yeah, 1 deck, literally. 2 deck, 3 deck, 4 deck, half brick. Well, I mean, they.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
You could probably get rid of the 4 brick, to be honest. Do a 1, 2, 3, a 6, and a brick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, the bare bones are here, but like you want to expand upon it a little bit more. I think there's a lot of potential for this here. So.
Yeah, I mean, something that's a flip book animated deck.
I'd like to see the
I
flip
want to
book.
see that.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see.
I'm guessing it's the
cards.
mustache growing here, but like.
I mean, that's creepy, but I definitely want to see how it works. You know, I want to see what the core cards look like. I want to see what, you know, it's just not enough.
Yeah, not enough
images,
information.
Renders.
Yeah. So, good luck. Next up, we have the Conjuring playing cards from Kirk Slater.
This deck's fun.
Yeah, this deck is got an interesting vibe
There's
to
a
it.
flip book for you. There's an example.
Interesting. I wonder if this is well, so in theory a marked deck potentially then, depending on how readable it is from that sense. Or is that on the faces? I see a hand in there, so I think it might be on the faces actually.
It might be on the faces, yeah.
I just want to see also what else Kirk has done in the past. So he's done
oh yeah,
Sisters of Blood, yeah. So he's created several decks in the past. By no means not his first. A nice old Bicycle Ritual deck there from 2014. So this is Kirk's return to playing cards after a bit. Yeah, this looks.
Yeah, he's had some really good successful campaigns. Those Sisterhood of Blood.
What we got here. Originally started out as a follow-up to the Coven deck. The design quickly evolved, creating a style of its own. All-female cast of court cards, animated moon and quarter indices, very dope. 4 custom-designed aces, 2 facing jokers with raving creative back design symbols. Very cool. Printed by Cordamundi on their B9 True Linen finish on slimline board. The only thing I'd like to see in there is who's going to be fulfilling, but perfect so far. And I'm gonna tell you,
a funky back design.
This animation is actually the perfect size too, because it's small enough that it doesn't push everything down the page, but it's eye-catching enough that you immediately like, oh cool, what's this? So very nicely done with that. I really dig the back design. It looks very cool. Definitely a dark themed deck, a lot of red and like kind of a bluish black.
Bloody, dude. It's bloody.
Yeah, this is an intense deck though.
It's fun. It's creepy. Look at those eyes.
Yeah. Little magic. On face, I want to provide some hidden magic with cards in numeric order, regardless of suit. The moon symbol in the top right changes in the indices. Pendulum animate, very cool. I like that. I like that thought process that goes into it. It's very
cool.
dope. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Dope jokers. You got a nice diptych there. Yeah. Dope tuck box.
Great. What are we looking at for price here?
21 shipped. A little bit. I mean, again, I think the 18 would have been the ideal for this one. Shipping's a little high at £5. Comes to about $7.50 somewhere around there, probably, maybe a little bit less. Ultimately, it'd be interesting to see who's doing fulfillment. This add-on will be made. Okay. Dope add-on.
$100.
Yeah. I like the little hand done up here. Dope add-on coin. Notebook. Actually, that's a really dope notebook too.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I think the big question for me then is who's going to be fulfilling? And I think fulfillment probably could have brought that price point down on shipping a little bit. So you probably would have come in around 19 instead of 21, which would have been like the perfect high-end price point for this.
Yeah, and having a tier of just the coin is kind of...
Yeah.
You want to... I mean, we talk about it all the time. We want to direct people to buy decks, you know, just have that as an add-on, even if you have a deck and coin.
100%. And so one of the reasons, and we can talk about this with coins as well, the reason with coins that you want to make sure that you're driving the deck is because your minimum order quantity for a deck is going to be significantly higher than your minimum order quantity for coins, which means that you could print 1,000 decks and only have to print 100 coins. Once you've found 100 people who want coins, you're basically you're printing to order at that point. If you only sell 75 coins, you're only holding 25 coins. If you print 1,000 decks and because the way you pushed it, you only sold 800, 200 decks is a pretty significant amount of decks to be holding on to. So anything that should be an add-on, like just a coin, make it an add-on. It's 100% worth it. Then you're selling a deck. And here's the thing too, if someone wants to back for just a coin, they can always pledge without a reward and then add the coin as an add-on. That way you're not forcing someone to get a deck for 15 euros and then, or $15 and then the coin. So yeah, fulfillment information would be definitely helpful here. I'm curious who is going to be fulfilling. shipping will split over 2 locations. So I would like to see if it's going to be Gamblers or someone like that, or Gamblers and 52 Wonders, or whoever's going to be doing European and US. So that information is definitely very valuable. I would throw that in there. Otherwise, good luck. Campaign looks like it's doing great, so that's exciting to see, man. Next up,
great deck. I dig it. I'd like to see borders on it, but
yeah, borders would be tough though, because then you'd have black borders. They probably be interesting. Next deck we got is deck of playing cards by artist Cordaro. So
he's back.
Yeah, so this is a relaunch of a dope deck that we saw last time. And look at this, he already funded, which is exciting as could be.
Good for him.
I'm glad to see he relaunched on this one, because this is actually a really cool artistic deck. I really dig the vibe of it. Decided to produce the red deck only as a limited, so great to hear. First time creator, it's always easy to fall into the trap of printing more than one deck, but a lot of times it's just easier to do one deck with subsequent decks coming after, especially if you get that momentum there. You know, on that other campaign, the goal was really high for a single deck. It lowers your goal to a point that you can hit it pretty easy. So nicely done.
The fact that he's only printing 300 decks is really, I mean, I don't know why he would only print 300 decks, because he's already reached a goal where, you know, he could pretty much print 1,000 of them and have more than 300 decks sold.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting kind of thing. I'm very much a firm believer that higher print runs are better when you have the ability to run with them. In this situation, you know, there's always the opportunity of saying, hey, we're going to have a limited edition of only 300 with seals, but anyone beyond that can get more. They just won't have a seal. Make those original 300 decks sold a little more special, but that way you can continue to utilize what you're getting there.
Yeah. I mean, it has a lot of backers already.
Yeah, he's got a solid amount of backers. And
he's got 132, and, you know, I'm sure not everybody bought one deck.
Well, and yeah, we can see the limited number here. So now you're basically saying, okay, there's only 15, 30... 31. Yeah, 31 tiers left for people to buy decks.
That's it.
Keep the momentum going. This is definitely an area where sometimes it's a little bit easier to play it safe like this, but limiting the deck small when you can do larger, you know, could potentially increase your cost point. The other cool thing you could have done with this one, because of the goal you hit, you could have said, we're going to use WJPC as our initial. We're planning on printing X number, but if we hit a stretch goal, we're going to up the print run and go with USPCC or go with Cardamundi. So you have a higher print run there.
So here's the thing. How much is one deck?
One deck is $20 shipped.
Yeah, so which is good. Now, I mean, he could have also just not have limited them and say we're printing as many as we need for the campaign if he was planning on printing just with WJPC. You know, he could have just opened it up, allowed, you know, people to purchase as many as they want. They could add on if they wanted to.
And that also reduces your cost for creation as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go about building beyond the original, like, limited number, so that 300 still feels like a special number for the first backers. And then everyone beyond that just gets a really cool deck that maybe doesn't have the seal, something along those lines. Because this artwork is dope, and I'm excited to see this deck get funded, because I think, you know, the first campaign was a little bit tough with it just because the goal was so high and there were some open questions. Cordell really has done a great job figuring out the logistics of this. Yeah.
Look at the box. Interesting. I wonder who's making those.
Delightful laser.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Definitely a dope looking box. Yeah, man.
It's like our buddy Charles does.
Yeah. So, Cordell, congrats on funding, man, and good luck. I would definitely mention who fulfillment is going to be. And
good luck.
Yeah, good luck, man. Next up, we have the Nebula playing cards from Emily Slights 52. Apologies there.
Crushing it.
You know, absolutely crushed it here. I love the look of this deck.
Yeah, it's super good. I mean, the colors are perfect together. I love, you know, the fan element on it. I think she really did a good job. I think this is, for me, her best deck that she's done so far.
So, custom playing cards manufactured by USPCC. Great to throw that right in the subtitle there. Definitely a reasonable
She
goal.
usually does fulfillment herself.
Yep, definitely a reasonable goal for the deck printing there. Crushed that goal significantly. I dig the story behind it. Really touches on, came up with the motivation and the idea behind it. Manufactured by USPCC on their premium B stock air cushion finish. Stretch goal for crushed, so it looks like it significantly passed that stretch goal, which means they're going to be crushed. So you're going to see a minimum print run of 2,500 there. Two-way back design, 1/4-inch border, completely custom pips. I love that back design. It's so like detailed and eye-catching. I love the broken borders. This is just a fun deck.
Definitely a cardistry deck.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely an
it's fun.
interesting look to it. Cool tuck.
Nice stretch goals. They have the gilded decks, and
It's a nice.
what do we?
It's a nice way to display the courts as well. I think she did a really good job here, kind of making it so that you can see a lot of the court cards without it being overly done and spread out over like 10 images. It's very nicely done.
What do we have for price?
We are looking at $17 shipped for the standard deck. Yeah, and then
Awesome.
that gilding just beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that purple gilding. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see it after it's done, because I haven't seen that color gilding. So it'd be interesting to see that color.
Well, and yeah, it's interesting too, because I'm wondering if clearly it's more of a magenta look in this render than an actual deep purple. Because when I think of purple, I think of the purple Jerry's Nuggets that were gilded.
Exactly.
So hopefully this is
I
more
don't know.
of a magenta.
That's what I'm saying. There's only so many different companies that gild, and I haven't seen that color yet. So it'd be cool to see it
in person.
Yeah.
The only downside to the gilding I can see, so if anyone does get a gilded one, get a standard too, is you lose the cool view of the broken borders on the side there, but that gilding does look
Sometimes it actually peeks through on gilding depending on how dark the gilding is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I know you can see it in the Knock 3000X1 when it's gilded.
Oh, nice. All right, distribution. I want to ensure that my backers receive their rewards, because this I'll be handling all domestic, perfect, and gamblers will be taking care of international. So touches on fulfillment right there. Very nicely done. Emily did a great job with this. Honestly, it's concisely put together. It has all the information you need. The images and all the renders look good. It really, very
flawless
nice.
campaign. Yeah.
Very nicely done, Emily. Congrats on crushing that funding goal.
Murdering it.
Steve, let's take a quick word from our sponsor here, and then we'll tell everybody what we're backing this week.
Join us as we celebrate the marvelous and fascinating things that surround us, all in the palm of your hands. You will be mesmerized. Follow us on Instagram at Marvelous Decks and at marvelousdecks.com.
Sounds good.
So, man, what are you backing this week?
I would back Nebula.
Nice.
And the Conjuring's pretty cool. Yeah, Conjuring's pretty cool. I'd like to see it with a border on the back, but like a thin border would be cool. But other than that, I think that's it, man.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think on my end this week, I'm definitely down with the Gods of Egypt. I love the Eternal Reign. I love the design of it. It's a dope looking deck. Actually really like the Tails playing cards too. Geo's style usually is very similar across a lot of the decks, but I think this one stands out a little bit more. I do dig the theme there. And then I can't get enough of the Conjuring either. I think that looks really good. And then Nebula, because the colors pop. It's an expensive week for me this week. So, dude, these decks look good. And I have to say, I think we had some really encouraging campaigns this week. Some of them have a little bit of, concerns with fulfillment. I think some of them have a little bit of concerns with their goal being too low. But from a price point of view, most of them seem to be pretty reasonable. Maybe a smidge high, but not too bad.
Had a good week pricing wise and, campaign wise.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let us know down in the comments below what you would be backing this week. We're always curious to hear which decks really caught your eye, which ones you have questions on, and which ones you're concerned about. So let us know which ones you're excited about down below.
Peace out.